police service representative. I've been working here for approximately 4 years.
Awesome, and how did you first become interested?
So I actually first became interested in this job when I moved into the city. It was mainly a way to get into the department. I've always wanted to work for the police department, not necessarily a police officer position, but I wanted to support them. I've always been a supporter of the police. And as I was searching online, I found this position and saw what the job entails, and actually came in and asked some questions. The person that I asked the questions to was my coworker, my counterpart for the first about 2.5 years while I was here. And so she let me ask her questions about the job, what she did, and it just sounded interesting to me. So I got into it, and turns out it was. The training, like before I could apply to qualify for the job, there really wasn't any specific requirements. I mean, you needed computer literacy, of course, being able to type and knowing how to use specific like Windows programs or Office programs. But other than that, there's no education requirements. So I was able to get into it with just the experience I already had. But I'm also former military, and I worked with animal law enforcement for a while. So I did have some sort of law enforcement background. But other than that, there was no requirements that I couldn't meet easily. Once I started the job, of course, I believe there was a 3-month training period, and then a 6-month probation period before they say, for sure, you're here. So it worked out. Personality traits, I'd say you definitely have to be a self-starter. You have to be self-motivated. You got to be personable, be able to react on the spot to all kinds of different situations. Especially with my position here at the POC, the Police Operations Center, I see everybody and everything. I'll see officers for whenever they need assistance with what they need. This is the main downtown office, so I see every person in the public that wants something from the police or wants to ask questions about laws in town. So you got to be ready to react on a dime. A lot of times we have supporters, of course, people that come in and say thank you for what you're doing, but we also have the people that are not so supportive of the police, and they'll come in and, scream at me. So you have to be ready to handle that in a professional manner. Definitely, integrity is a must. You obviously have to be able to be truthful to yourself and to the department and to the people out there that you're supporting. So the starting salary for a police service representative right now is approximately $19.97, which equates to roughly $3,462 a month. Typically, the city provides annual increases for all city employees to include officers and civilians. And every year on the anniversary of your hire date, there's also an annual pay raise. There's also potential for increases with performance. You do evaluations every year. Depending on how well you do on that, you could get raises from that as well. Anywhere from 2 to 4% or 2 to 3%, I believe, from that alone, on top of all the other ones I had just mentioned. All salary increases are dependent on the city's budget. So whenever the city adopts a new budget, they typically apply raises to most, if not all, city employees in that. So my typical work environment, I work in an office. I work at the front desk of the police department. The people I interact with, it's not easy to narrow down, because I interact with anyone and everyone. Anyone from officers to everyday criminals, to your average citizen. So I work 40 hours a week, and I interact with just about everyone of every class and creed every day. So my typical day, I come in at 6 a.m., usually between about 6 and 7. I don't have a whole lot of people in the lobby yet. Sometimes there's some officers who are getting close to coming off shift. They need to finish up some paperwork, and I'll help them with that. Probable cause affidavits or warrants or something like that. But if I don't have that, then I'm usually doing admin, catching up on emails or voicemails, replying as necessary. Training requirements, we do a lot of training online. A lot of it's either video classes, either recorded by our own training officers, or just classes that were like government classes sort of thing. Then it's usually around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning is when I start getting more people from the public coming in. Here at the Operations Center, we have the fingerprint section. This is the only place in the city with the police department that does the fingerprints. So they start coming in around 7 o'clock, and I gotta make sure they all get signed in correctly and in the order that they came in. Then they open at 8 o'clock, and start doing that. And those people are trickling in throughout the entire day because they're open until 8 p.m. Then after that, as you said, it's different every day. I'll get hundreds of people coming into my desk every day asking such a wide range of questions. It's impossible to really narrow it down. Anything from, am I allowed to have underglow lights on my motorcycle, to what colors are allowed with that, to where's my husband, what jail is he in, and how do I get money to them, which isn't us, but that's the county. A lot of the benefits with this job come with the variety of what you see. I have actually found this job to be more of a character growing experience than anything else. When I first started this job, I wasn't anywhere near prepared to see all the stuff that I would see here. Seeing just like I said earlier, the wide range of people that I see at my desk is just made me have a whole new outlook on everything. Challenges, of course, we don't have everyone that's fully supportive of the police, and a lot of times I have to deal with, I'm the front face, I have to deal with that. But a lot of times I can usually calm them down and get them to leave, or get them to contact people that they can actually register the complaints to. Overall, it's just a very enjoyable experience to me. Like I said, it's definitely got a learning curve. But once you get into that curve and you actually start learning how to handle these individual situations, you come to love it. Absolutely. I work 40 hours a week, 4 shifts of 10 hours. There's always overtime opportunities just from people taking vacations, or if there's open slots available, they always put them out for overtime. So 3 days off every week, and I work the day shift, so I get nights off. I get to spend time with my family every day. So it works out very well for me. My favorite aspect, honestly, is, as you said, it's always different. I come into work every morning, and I actually look forward to coming into work because every day feels like an adventure, because I always learn something new. Whether it be about an obscure law that someone came in and asked about, and it's like, wow, I've never heard that one before, let me look that up. So I can give you an example of that one. Did you know it's legal to take a left turn on a red light onto a one-way street? That is legal.
I've had people question that before, so that's interesting.
I learned that one a couple of weeks ago. I had no idea about that.
Wow.
But I mean, stuff like that, like I learn every day. The motorcycle question, that was yesterday. I had no idea about anything about that. And it's like, okay, there is specific laws about motorcycles and underglow lights. Who knew? So this position, I've only been here 4 years, and it has evolved dramatically in that 4 years, and not for the worst, not for the best either, really. It's just different. When I first came in here, police service representatives were the ones that typed all of officers' reports. They would dictate them into a microphone, save them, submit them, and then they'd appear on our desktop computers, and we would be the ones typing them for them and putting them into the official programs that are used for law enforcement across the country. That has gone away, though. They now use a dictating software so the officers can do that in the field, so they don't have to waste the time to stop and do that. They can type it, or it all types up while they're dictating it. So that part of the job is gone, but we still have other aspects. We still support officers in that aspect. A lot of times, if they don't have time to do that, we can still get into the software and type that stuff for them. That's what a lot of our midnight shift PSRs do, if they're not busy. That's usually our busiest shifts. Other than that, we don't do desk reports right now. However, there's a possibility of that coming to fruition soon. In this city currently, all reports have to go through dispatch or online reporting for very specific types. But we're in talks to try and expand a little bit so that we can do some desk reports. Not like the stuff where we have to send an officer out, because we would take dispatch's job in that aspect, but like the small ones where it's just data entry. For instance, like someone broke into my car and stole my purse. We can input the information about what was in that purse, so that they have a record of it on there, and they can take that with them if they need to get like a new ID or something like that. So it's evolving in a different way, to the point where we're getting not necessarily more responsibilities, but different responsibilities. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Advice I would give someone for this career. If you want to do a career like this, make sure that you can be thick-skinned. You can take some punishment verbally, primarily. That's the only kind of punishment we take is verbally. And a lot of times you have to be ready to give bad news. A lot of times I've had instances where, as I said, we work primarily through dispatch for people to make reports, and they'll come in and they'll talk to me and try to make a report through me, but I can't take that report, so I have to tell them, I'm sorry, this is how you need to do this. No one's ever happy about that. It's like, I drove an hour or half an hour to get down here so I can make this report, and you're telling me I got to do it over the phone? Well, yeah, I'm sorry. It's an unfortunate part of it. But I'd say the biggest part of it is like, be ready to be a self-starter, do the work that you need to do, whatever assignments you have, on your own. A lot of times you might not have that supervision for someone to say, hey, did you get this done, or are you working on this, or anything like that. You have to do it yourself. And then, you just got to be ready to handle any situation that comes at you, because it's very different. You have to be able to act on the fly for it.